Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And as always, I would like to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of quick and important information being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Zimbabwe poised to ditch dollar and trade with Russia. Okay, now as you may know, as you can see, this is an article that was uploaded from RT.com, as you see up here. Okay, settlements between the countries could be arranged to in local currencies or gold, a senior lawmaker has suggested. Okay, so these countries, there's a lot of countries right now that are ditching the US dollar. Okay, now I believe Arabia talked about ditching the US dollar in trade as well. Okay, Arabia, we know Russia and China for years now have been talking about ditching the US dollar. Okay, I believe Brazil talked about, not dealing in US dollars when doing trades anymore. So there's various countries that are looking to dump the dollar, which will cause the dollar to no longer be in which this will cause the dollar to no longer be the leading Federal Reserve. And we know what happens when the United States dollar is no longer the Federal Reserve. Your dollars will be worth mere pennies. And if your dollar is worth mere pennies, right? If your dollar is worth mere pennies, think about how many dollars you would need in order to buy a loaf of bread. Let's just to say if a loaf of bread was $2, right? And your dollars were worth mere pennies. For an example, let's just to say if a dollar bill was worth 5 pennies, right? A loaf of bread was $2. That means you would need about $40 just to buy one loaf of bread, right? Because 20 times 5, let me see, a loaf of bread is $2, right? So yeah, because 20 cents times 5 is $1. So 40 cents times 5 would be $2. So you would need $40 in order to buy a loaf of bread. So that's what happens if the United States dollar is no longer the Federal Reserve currency. Your dollars will be worth mere pennies. And from what it's looking like, the dollar is losing its value and is losing its hegemony as the reserve currency, as the Federal Reserve currency. Day after day, countries are starting to consider dumping the US dollar because they're starting to see that it's not really worth anything. It's just paper. You see? So now if we come over here to Ezekiel, and there's many countries that are rearing to dump the US dollar. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 19. Okay, Ezekiel 7 verse 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. So your gold and your silver is a metaphor for the petrodollar, these paper notes inside of your wallet that you use to buy, to sell, to make trades, to invest in stocks, to put in the banks. Yeah, that's your modern day. That's metaphorically your gold and your silver, because back in the ancient world, gold and silver was used to buy and sell, to trade and to invest in stocks and all that stuff. So your modern day gold and silver will be your dollars. Now in that movie I Am Legend, they showed you that as Will Smith was walking through the streets, they showed what? Dollars lying all over the streets. Why? Because the dollars were worthless. They couldn't do anything with it. So because the dollars were worthless, it had the same value as what? Toilet paper. So they was tossing their money in the streets. You see? And ultimately, that's what the so-called elites want. Because the so-called elites, ultimately, they want to do away with cash. And they want to introduce a new way of buying and selling, which is going to come via the CHIP. So it says, they shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. With that, I'm going to say, Shalom. Is on to the next one.